right, so we're going to talk about nonlinear systems of equations and inequalities. Remember, anytime you see this word systems in mathematics, it just means more than one. So when we're looking here, we have a nonlinear item here. We have a linear, so we're actually looking at where does this circle and this line intersect, okay? And then we're going to look at a parabola and a hyperbola and kind of go from there. Actually, this is supposed to be a square, okay? All right, so when we're solving these, a lot of times I'm going to solve for one of the variables. I'm going to solve for whichever variable is kind of the easiest to solve for. So here I'm going to go 3x equals 4y. If I want to solve for y, that's fine. I'm going to go divide by 4, or y equals 3/4 x. Now, since I have this solved for y, I'm going to take this and plug it back in. So I have x squared plus 3/4 x quantity squared equals 25. Okay? I'm going to square this out, so I get x squared plus 9/16 x squared equals 25. Okay? I need to get this to be in something that I can add together. So I'm going to make this 16/16 x squared. So now I'm going to combine these. 25 over 16 x squared equals 25. I got to get rid of this coefficient, so I'm going to multiply by 16/25. And I get x squared equals 16. Well, when I square root this, I know the square root of 16, it's 4. So it's got to be 4 and -4, okay? So I have two values here. Remember, the square root implies the positive side and the negative side. Now, I'm going to take this and plug it in. So I can plug it in all the way down here. So 4 times 3/4 is 3. -4 times 3/4 is -3. There's my 2 points of intersection, right? So a circle and a line can intersect at most 2 points. There's the 2 points. Now, what happens if they don't intersect? Well, then you would have something down here that you would end up having a problem. Like you would have the square root of a negative number, doesn't exist. And so you'd find that there isn't an x value, okay? It could be at one value also, okay? All right, so now we have a hyperbola and an ellipse. And we want to know where these are going to intersect. So once again, I'm going to solve for one of the variables. So I have 2x squared plus 5y squared equals 39. I have 3x squared minus y squared equals -1. So on this bottom one, I'm actually going to solve for y. Okay, so I'm going to go 3x squared plus 1 equals y squared. So now, anywhere I see a y squared, I'm going to plug in 3x squared plus 1. So I'm going to take this, and I'm going to plug it in right here. So I'm going to go 2x squared plus 5 times 3x squared plus 1 equals 39. Now I'm going to solve for x squared. So 2x squared plus 15x squared plus 5 equals 39. Okay, 17x squared equals 34, or x squared equals 2. So now I know x is equal to plus or minus the square root of 2. Okay, it's not too bad. So now I know that I have the square root of 2. I have the negative square root of 2. And we're going to look to see what happens when I plug that in. Okay, so I'm going to plug it in right here because I already have y equals. So I have y squared equals 3 times the square root of 2 squared plus 1. So this gives me 3 times 2 plus 1, or 7. So y squared equals 7, or y equals the square root of 7, so plus or minus. So now I know that when I have the square root of 2, it's going to give me both the positive side and the negative side. So now I actually have multiple points of intersection. So if I plug -2 square roots of 2 in, what's going to happen here is this equation actually stays the same because I'm going to end up squaring that negative sign, and it will get rid of it, okay? So there's my 4 points of intersections. Just be careful when you're dealing with square roots that you remember that it's plus or minus, okay? Now the last thing we're going to talk about is what happens when we have inequalities, nonlinear inequalities, okay? So here I have a circle and I have a line. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to solve this line as an inequality. Okay, so I'm going to go 3x is greater than 4y. Okay, I'm going to flip it around. Y is less than 3/4 x. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to graph these. Okay, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I'm going to start with my circle. Okay, my circle, I'm going to find my center. It's at 0, 0. Okay, so that's good. My radius is 5, so I'm going to go over 5, up 5. Try to make it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's close enough. Okay, and then I look at my inequality. My inequality is equal to, so now I have solid circle on the outside. Okay. Now I have to decide where I'm going to shade. Okay? So I'm going to either shade the inside of the circle or the outside. The easiest way is take a point and test it. If I put 0, 0 in here, 0 squared plus 0 squared is less than 25. So I'm actually going to shade the inside. So I'm shading this inside piece here. Okay? Now I come to my line. Y is less than 3/4 x. So I'm at the origin here. Okay, so I'm going to go up 3, 1, 2, 3, over 4, up there. And I notice that it is not equal to it, so it's a dashed line. And it's less than, so I'm going to shade below. Okay, and it's that commonality that we're looking for. So we're looking at this whole section of that circle and the line. So we're looking at that half that circle. Okay, so that's looking at systems of nonlinear inequalities. So we're going to find points of intersection, and we're going to find where the regions overlap.